The parking lot was nearly empty at 7 p.m. when I pulled up to the Value Village on Dundas Street. I wasn't expecting to see anyone I knew, certainly not my daughter. But there she was. Sarah, my successful, always put-together daughter, digging through a donation bin outside the store. Her hair was unwashed, pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore a coat I didn't recognize, thin, threadbare at the elbows. And beside her, sitting on a rolled-up sleeping bag, was my granddaughter Emma, 6 years old. She should have been at home doing homework, not sitting in a parking lot in the cold October evening. I sat frozen in my car for a moment, my hands gripping the steering wheel. This couldn't be real. Sarah was an accountant. She'd bought a beautiful house in Mississauga 3 years ago. She had a good job, a husband, a stable life. I got out of the car, my heart pounding. Sarah? She spun around, and the look on her face, I'll never forget it. Not surprise, not embarrassment, relief. Pure, exhausted relief. Mom. Her voice cracked. Emma looked up at me with those big brown eyes, and I saw she was wearing mittens with holes in them. Sweetheart, what are you doing here? I walked toward them, trying to keep my voice steady. Sarah glanced at Emma, then back at me. We're looking for some warm clothes for Emma. She's growing so fast. I looked at the sleeping bag, the overstuffed backpack beside it, the reusable grocery bags filled with what looked like their entire lives. Sarah, what happened to your house? She opened her mouth, closed it, her eyes filled with tears. Trevor said we had to sell it. Trevor, her husband of 8 years, the man who'd seemed so perfect when she'd brought him home. Charming, successful in real estate, always talking about investments and opportunities. What do you mean, you had to sell it? He said we were in debt. He said I'd made some bad decisions with money and we couldn't afford the mortgage anymore. He handled the sale. We were supposed to use the money to rent something smaller until we got back on our feet. But she looked down. There's no money left, Mom. It's all gone. My chest tightened. Where are you staying? She didn't answer. Sarah. In the car. Her voice was barely a whisper. We've been sleeping in my car for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. My daughter and granddaughter had been homeless for 2 weeks, and I hadn't known. Where's Trevor? At his brother's condo. He said there's no room for us there. He said he's trying to figure things out, but he needs space. He said, her voice broke. He said I need to take responsibility for the mess I made. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. What mess, Sarah? The debt. The credit cards I apparently maxed out. The loans I took. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. I don't remember doing it, but Trevor showed me the statements. My signature was on everything. He said I must have been stressed and blocked it out. He said I was buying things online late at night, clothes, gadgets, things for Emma. He said I have a spending problem. I looked at my daughter. Sarah, who'd kept a budget spreadsheet since she was 16, who'd saved every receipt and tracked every expense, who'd called me in tears 3 years ago because she'd accidentally overpaid a utility bill by $20 and couldn't figure out where she'd made the mistake in her records. How much debt? $93,000. My knees almost gave out. $93,000? She nodded, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. I don't understand how I could have done it. I don't remember any of it, but it's my name on everything, Trevor showed me. He said he tried to protect me, tried to manage it quietly, but it got out of control, and now the house is gone, and... She looked at Emma. Mom, I'm so scared. He keeps saying, if I can't get myself together, if I can't prove I can be responsible, he might have to take Emma, for her own good. He said a mother who can't even keep a roof over her child's head shouldn't have custody. That's when something shifted in me. The shock turned to ice-cold clarity. Get in my car, both of you, now. Mom, I can't. Sarah Elizabeth Thompson. Get in my car. Something in my voice made her move. She grabbed Emma's hand, and they followed me to my Honda. I loaded their belongings into my trunk. Everything they owned fit in there with room to spare. I drove them to my house in Oakville in silence. Sarah sat in the passenger seat staring out the window. Emma fell asleep in the back within 5 minutes, her head pressed against the window. When we got inside, I made Emma a bed on the couch with clean sheets and my softest blankets. She was out cold, poor thing. Sarah stood in my kitchen, looking lost. Take a shower, put on clean clothes, then we're going to talk. 20 minutes later, she sat across from me at my kitchen table, her hair damp, wearing my old McGill sweatshirt. I'd made tea. She wrapped her hands around the mug like it was the only solid thing in the world. Tell me everything. From the beginning, she took a shaky breath. It started about 6 months after we bought the house. Trevor said he wanted to handle all the finances. He said I worked such long hours, I shouldn't have to worry about bills and mortgage payments too. He said it would be his way of contributing more since I was the primary earner. I'd known that. Sarah made $72,000 a year. Trevor's real estate income was less stable. Some months were good, some weren't. I thought it was sweet, she continued. Thoughtful. So I gave him access to our joint account. He set up automatic payments for everything. He said he'd take care of it all. And the credit cards? I didn't apply for any new ones. I had one card with a $5,000 limit that I barely used. But 3 months ago, Trevor sat me down and showed me statements for 4 credit cards I didn't know I had, all maxed out, all in my name. Did you see the actual cards? She shook her head. He said they were all digital now, on his phone, for security. He showed me the online statements. They had my name, my information, charges for things like designer purses, jewelry, electronics, hundreds of purchases. He said I must have done it during late-night stress shopping and blocked it out because of guilt. I kept my voice calm. Sarah, you're an accountant. Do you really think you could rack up $93,000 in debt without noticing? I don't know anymore, Mom. Trevor kept saying maybe I was having some kind of breakdown, that the pressure of the new job and being a mom was too much. He was so patient about it, so understanding. He said he'd been trying to fix it quietly, taking money from the house equity, consolidating loans, but it wasn't enough. He said we had to sell. Who handled the sale of the house? He did. He said I was too stressed, and he didn't want me to have to deal with it. He worked with his brother, who's also in real estate. They said they found a buyer quickly, some investor who wanted a fast sale. I signed the papers Trevor brought home. He said we'd net about $200,000 after the mortgage was paid off. And where's that money now? Her hands started shaking. Trevor said it went to pay off the debt, but there's still more owed. He said we'll need to work on payment plans. He said I need to get a second job. But Mom, she looked up at me, her eyes desperate. I've been trying to check the accounts, but I can't access anything anymore. He changed all the passwords. He said it's for the best, so I don't make things worse. He gives me $100 a week for groceries and gas. That's it. I felt rage building in my chest, but I kept my face neutral. Sarah, when you signed the papers for the house sale, did you read them? Trevor stood over me and pointed where to sign. He said he'd already been through everything with his brother, and it was all standard. He said I should trust him. She started crying again. Maybe I do have a problem, Mom. Maybe I did do this, and I just can't remember. Trevor said sometimes people block out trauma. He's been so kind about it, so patient. Even now, he texts me every day checking on Emma, making sure she's okay. He says once I get help and prove I can manage money again, we can be a family. I reached across the table and took her hands. Listen to me very carefully. You didn't do this. But the statements can be faked. Sarah, you're being manipulated. She pulled her hands back. No, Trevor wouldn't. He loves me. He's trying to help me. A man who loves you doesn't let his wife and child sleep in a car while he stays in his brother's condo. There's no room. There's always room. A couch, a floor, anywhere. I leaned forward. Sarah, I need you to think. Has Trevor been isolating you from friends? From family? She was quiet for a long moment. He said, your retirement community was too far to visit regularly. He said my friends from university were bad influences, always wanting to go out and spend money. He said we needed to focus on our little family. When's the last time you saw your credit report? I don't know. Trevor said he was monitoring it for me. Do you have any bank statements? Paper copies? Trevor said we switched to paperless to save trees. Everything goes to his email. I stood up. Tomorrow morning, first thing, you're going to request your credit report, and you're going to call your bank, and then we're going to figure out exactly what happened." "Mom, what if I really did do this?" I walked around the table and hugged her. She felt so small in my arms. "You didn't. I know you didn't, and we're going to prove it." That night, after Sarah fell asleep in the guest room, I sat at my computer. I'd taught high school math for 35 years before retiring. I'd seen my share of troubled kids, manipulative parents, and people who preyed on vulnerability. I knew what gaslighting looked like. I started researching financial fraud, identity theft, coercive control. The more I read, the clearer it became. The next morning, Sarah sat at my kitchen table with her laptop while Emma watched cartoons in the living room. I'd called my friend Dorothy, whose daughter was a lawyer, and she'd talked Sarah through requesting her credit report from Equifax and TransUnion. When the reports loaded, Sarah went pale. "Mom, there are 10 credit cards here. 10. I've never seen half of these banks before." I looked over her shoulder. The accounts had been opened over the past 2 years, all with her information, but addresses I didn't recognize. "Those are P.O. boxes," I said. "Someone was diverting your mail." Sarah's hands shook as she scrolled. The spending patterns. "Mom, look. They're all at electronic stores, jewelry stores, luxury retailers. But everything was delivered to addresses in Toronto. Not our house. Not anywhere I've ever lived. Print all of this." She did. Page after page of evidence. Then she called her bank. The conversation started calmly, but I watched Sarah's face change as she listened. She put the phone on speaker. "Mrs. Chen, I'm showing that your joint account holder, Trevor Chen, removed you as a co-signer on the primary account 3 months ago. You currently have access only to the secondary account with a balance of $214. Sarah's voice came out strangled. "He removed me? From our joint account?" "Yes, ma'am. The request was processed at our Burlington branch, and I'm seeing that the savings account associated with your house sale, the one with the deposit of $187,000, was transferred to a new account under only Mr. Chen's name 2 weeks ago. The funds were then withdrawn in full." Sarah couldn't speak. I took over. "This is her mother. Are you saying that Trevor Chen took all the money from the house sale and moved it to an account my daughter can't access?" "That's correct. I'm very sorry, but without both parties present and proper authorization, I can't provide more details. Can you tell us which branch processed the withdrawal?" A pause. "The Wellington Street branch in downtown Toronto. Last Monday." I wrote it all down. After Sarah hung up, she just sat there, staring at nothing. "He stole everything." "Yes. The debt, was that even real?" "I don't know. But we're going to find out." I pulled out my phone. "I'm calling Dorothy's daughter. We need a lawyer." Sarah grabbed my arm. "Mom, I can't afford a lawyer. I have no money. I have nothing. You have me. And you have the truth. That's going to be enough." By that afternoon, we sat in the office of Rebecca Morrison, a family lawyer Dorothy's daughter had recommended. Rebecca was in her 40s, sharp-eyed, and she listened to everything without interrupting. When Sarah finished, Rebecca leaned back in her chair. "This is financial abuse, textbook coercive control. He systematically took control of your finances, isolated you from support systems, opened fraudulent accounts in your name, and then made you believe you were mentally unstable when you questioned what was happening. But I signed the house papers," Sarah said. "I gave him access to the accounts, under duress and false pretenses." "Sarah, did Trevor ever threaten you?" "Not directly. But he said..." She swallowed hard. "He said if I couldn't get myself together, he'd have to consider whether I was fit to care for Emma. He said no judge would give custody to a mother in debt who couldn't provide stable housing." Rebecca's jaw tightened. "He was setting you up, creating a paper trail to make you look incompetent while he positioned himself as the responsible parent. I've seen this before. Men who want to exit a marriage but don't want to pay support or lose assets. They sabotage their wives financially, then use that sabotage as evidence of unfitness. What do? First, we file a police report. This is fraud. Second, we file for divorce and request an emergency motion for temporary support and custody. Third, we freeze all joint assets that remain. Fourth, we contact the credit card companies and dispute those fraudulent accounts. Trevor has a lawyer already. His brother knows people. He said, "I don't care what he said. The truth is on your side." Rebecca pulled out a legal pad. "I'm going to need documentation of everything. Bank statements, credit reports, emails, text messages. Anything where Trevor discussed finances. Anything where he made you feel responsible for this debt." Over the next week, Sarah and I went through everything. She forwarded me emails from Trevor, hundreds of them. I read them late into the night. The pattern was clear. At first, they were loving. Then, gradually, they shifted. Little comments about Sarah forgetting things. Suggestions that she was stressed and needed to let him handle more. Gentle corrections when she questioned expenses. Then, more recently, longer messages about how disappointed he was, how he'd tried to protect her but couldn't anymore, how she needed to take accountability. Every message was carefully worded to make Sarah doubt herself while making Trevor look patient and supportive. It was brilliant, and it was sickening. I contacted my own bank and took out a line of credit against my house to pay for Rebecca's retainer. Sarah protested, but I shut that down fast. "You're my daughter. This is what mothers do." The police report was filed. Detective Rahman from the Financial Crimes Unit took Sarah's statement. He was kind but blunt. Cases like this are complicated. Even with evidence, it often comes down to he said, she said, because you did grant him access initially. But the forged credit applications and the diversion of mail, that's clear fraud. We'll investigate. How long will it take? Weeks. Maybe months. Financial investigations aren't quick. Sarah's face fell, but I squeezed her hand. "That's okay. We have time." We didn't have to wait long for Trevor's response to the divorce filing. His lawyer sent a letter 2 days later. It was aggressive. It accused Sarah of abandoning the marital home, of financial irresponsibility, of putting Emma at risk. It demanded full custody, claiming Trevor was the stable parent with housing and income. Rebecca wasn't impressed. This is a bullying tactic. They're hoping Sarah will panic and settle for nothing. We're not doing that. The emergency custody hearing was set for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, Trevor started texting Sarah constantly. "I can't believe you're doing this. You're tearing our family apart. Emma needs her father. You're being selfish. I was trying to help you. This is how you repay me?" Each message made Sarah doubt herself more. I finally took her phone and blocked his number, except for communication through the lawyer. "He's manipulating you. Still. Even now." Emma asked about her father every day. Sarah tried to explain in terms a 6-year-old could understand. "Daddy and I are having some grown-up problems, but you're safe, and we both love you. When can I see Daddy?" "Soon, sweetheart." But Trevor hadn't asked to see Emma. Not once. That told me everything. 10 days before the hearing, Sarah got a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Zara Chen?" "Yes?" "This is Monica Palmer. I think I'm married to your husband." The world stopped. "I'm sorry, what?" "Trevor Chen. We've been married for 2 years. We live in Toronto, and I just found out about you." Sarah put the phone on speaker with shaking hands. I sat beside her, my heart pounding. Monica's voice was tight, controlled. "I found a document in his office yesterday. Divorce papers, with your name on them. So I did some digging. Sarah, I don't know how to tell you this, but Trevor isn't who he says he is." "What do you mean?" "His real name is Trevor Williams. Chen is his mother's maiden name. He used it for his real estate license. He's been living 2 lives. He told me he was divorced, that his ex-wife had moved away with his daughter and cut off contact. He showed me fake custody agreements. I had no idea you existed." Sarah couldn't speak. I took over. "This is Sarah's mother. Monica, do you have any proof of this?" "I have a marriage certificate. I have photos. I have bank statements showing he's been using joint accounts with both of us. And Sarah, I'm so sorry, but he did the same thing to me. The debt he told me about, the money problems, I'm starting to think none of it was real." Did he have access to your finances? Yes, everything. And 6 months ago, I inherited $200,000 from my grandmother. He convinced me to put it in a joint investment account. He said he had a great opportunity through his real estate connections. I haven't seen a statement in months. When I ask, he says the market's been rough, but it'll bounce back. I felt cold all over. Monica, that money is gone. I know. Her voice cracked. I called the investment company today. The account was closed 2 months ago. Trevor withdrew everything. Have you gone to the police? I'm filing a report tomorrow, and I'm leaving him. I wanted to warn you, to tell you you're not crazy. He did this to me too. After the call ended, Sarah just sat there, tears streaming down her face. He was married to someone else. The whole time, everything was a lie. Yes, how could I not know? Because he's a skilled con artist, Sarah. He targeted you. This wasn't your fault. Rebecca was thrilled when we told her, this is huge. Bigamy is a crime, and it establishes a pattern of fraud. Monica needs to testify. She did. At the emergency hearing, Monica Palmer sat in the courtroom and told her story. Sarah told hers. Rebecca presented the credit reports, the bank statements, the emails, the evidence of forged signatures on credit applications. Trevor sat with his lawyer, looking calm and confident, until Monica started speaking. Then his face went pale. His lawyer tried to spin it, claimed Monica was a disgruntled girlfriend making false accusations, that the bigamy charge was a misunderstanding, that Trevor had always planned to annul his second marriage, but hadn't gotten around to it. The judge wasn't buying it. Mr. Chen, or Williams, or whatever your legal name is, this court finds your credibility severely lacking. The evidence presented suggests a pattern of financial exploitation and fraud. Emergency temporary custody is granted to Mrs. Sarah Chen. You will have supervised visitation only, pending the outcome of the criminal investigation. All joint assets are to be frozen immediately, and you are ordered to provide full accounting of all financial transactions involving marital funds over the past 3 years. Trevor's face went red. This is insane. She's the one who ran up all that debt. The judge looked at him coldly. Mr. Williams, I suggest you stop talking. Anything you say at this point will likely be used against you in the criminal proceedings. Court is adjourned. Trevor's lawyer pulled him out of the courtroom quickly. Sarah just sat there, shaking. Did we just win? Rebecca smiled. We won this round. The custody battle is far from over. But yes, today was a very good day. The police investigation moved faster after Monica came forward. Detective Rahman discovered that Trevor, or Trevor Williams, his real name, had done this before. There was a woman in Vancouver he'd scammed 5 years ago, another in Calgary. He had a system. He'd find successful women, marry them, gain access to their finances, and slowly drain them dry while making them believe they were the problem. The credit card fraud was confirmed. Trevor had used Sarah's information to open accounts at addresses he controlled. He'd been using the cards for months, then dumping the statements before Sarah could see them. When the debt got too big, he'd convinced her she'd done it herself. The house sale was legitimate, but Trevor and his brother, who was in on the scheme, had inflated the commission and fees, and then Trevor had taken all the remaining funds. $187,000 gone. Monica's inheritance? Also gone. Trevor had spent over $400,000 in 2 years on gambling, high-end purchases, and another woman he'd been seeing in Niagara Falls. The arrest happened on a Tuesday morning. Detective Rahman called to tell us they'd picked Trevor up at his brother's condo. Both men were charged with fraud, identity theft, and in Trevor's case, bigamy. Sarah cried when she got the call. Not sad tears, relief. It's over. Not quite, I said. But it's the beginning of the end. The criminal trial took 8 months. Rebecca connected Sarah with a forensic accountant who traced every dollar. In the end, Trevor and his brother were convicted on multiple counts of fraud. Trevor got 12 years. His brother got 8. The assets that could be recovered were Trevor's car, some jewelry he'd bought, electronics he hadn't sold yet. It amounted to about $43,000 split between Sarah and Monica. It wasn't enough. Not even close. But Sarah's credit was cleared. The fraudulent debts were discharged. She kept her job through everything her boss was understanding and gave her time off for court appearances. She moved out of my place after 6 months and found a small apartment in Burlington. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She could afford it on her salary now that she wasn't supporting Trevor's lies. Emma adjusted better than we expected. She saw her father twice, supervised visits before he went to prison. After that, Sarah told her the truth in age-appropriate terms that her father had made bad choices and had to go away for a long time to think about what he'd done. "Will he come back?" Emma asked. "Someday, but not for a very long time." "That's okay. I like living with just you and Grandma visiting." 2 years later, Sarah started dating again, carefully, slowly. She did therapy, worked through the trauma, learned to trust her instincts again. She also started speaking publicly about financial abuse. She gave talks at community centers, wrote articles, helped other women recognize the signs. One evening, we sat on her apartment balcony watching Emma play in the courtyard below. "I should have known," Sarah said quietly. "I'm an accountant. I work with numbers every day. How did I let him do that to me?" "Because he was skilled, and because you loved him. Love makes us vulnerable." "That's not a weakness, Sarah. It's what makes us human. I'm afraid I'll never trust anyone again." "You will, but you'll trust yourself first, and that's the most important thing." She looked at me. "I never thanked you properly. For believing me, for fighting for me. I couldn't have survived this without you." "You would have. You're stronger than you know, but you shouldn't have had to do it alone." "A lot of women do, though. A lot of women don't have someone who believes them." "I know." She was quiet for a moment. "I want Emma to grow up different. I want her to know how to protect herself, how to recognize manipulation, how to ask for help without shame. Then teach her. Show her what strength looks like. You're already doing it." The sun was setting, turning the sky orange and pink. Emma's laughter floated up from below, clear and happy. "You know what I learned?" Sarah said. "Financial abuse isn't about being stupid with money. It's about someone systematically taking away your power, your autonomy, your sense of reality. It can happen to anyone. Accountants, lawyers, doctors, smart, capable people. Because it's not about intelligence. It's about trust being weaponized against you. What do you wish you'd known back then? That it's okay to ask questions, that a partner who truly loves you wants you to understand your finances, not be kept in the dark, that secrecy is a red flag, not protection, that if someone makes you feel crazy for asking reasonable questions, they're the problem, not you." I nodded. "What else?" "That you should never, ever sign something you haven't read thoroughly. That you should maintain your own bank account, your own credit card, your own financial identity, even in marriage. That love doesn't mean blind trust. Trust should be earned and maintained, not demanded. And if you could tell other women one thing," she thought about that if something feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your instincts. If your partner is controlling all the money, changing passwords, intercepting mail, making you account for every dollar while they have free access, those are warning signs. If they tell you you're bad with money when you've never had problems before, if they blame you for debt you don't remember creating, if they isolate you from family and friends who might ask questions, run. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for it to get worse. Just run. And if they're already in too deep, reach out to anyone, a parent, a friend, a helpline, a lawyer. There are people who will believe you. There are people who will help. The shame you feel isn't real. It's something they put there to keep you quiet. Fight through it. Tell someone. Anyone. We sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the sun disappear below the horizon. "Mom?" "Yeah? Thank you for not giving up on me." I reached over and squeezed her hand. "Never. Not ever." Financial abuse is insidious because it's invisible. There are no bruises, no broken bones, no obvious scars. Just confusion, shame, and a slowly eroding sense of self. But it's just as damaging as any other form of abuse, and it's far more common than people realize. If you're reading this and something feels familiar, please know, you're not alone, you're not stupid, you're not crazy, and you deserve help. Check your credit report regularly. Maintain access to your own accounts. Keep copies of important documents somewhere safe. Tell someone you trust if things feel wrong. And if you're the mother, the sister, the friend of someone you suspect is being financially controlled, believe them, support them, don't judge, just help them find their way back to solid ground. Because sometimes survival starts with one person saying, "I believe you, you're not alone, we'll fight this together." And that makes all the difference.